It was a whale of a game. And if you watched it on Sportsnet Flames, you saw this guy, Ryan Leslie, the host. He joins us today from the Great White North. And I would love to know, Les, hey, nice to see you, man. Happy New Year, by the way. How are you doing?
Same to you. It's great to be with you. Sorry, my phone's moving here. You know what? It's weird here. I'm in Toronto in studio. Everything's locked down. And in Calgary, it's minus 40. And in Florida, it's probably 30 degrees. And I'm kind of in Toronto, just kind of waiting to see how it all unfolds here. But wild game last night.
It was wild. By the way, it'll be plus 10 in Calgary next week when the RP show rolls in, broadcasting live from the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. And your invitation is served, Ryan. So what was your take of how that game went down last night?
Well, my take, Roddy, was the fact that you fanboyed it right up, videotaping Matthew Tkachuk as we would expect. I told you loved him. At first you thought you didn't like him. Now you're recording him. You're watching him stretch, keeping your professional eye on all things Calgary Flames. And to see you tweeting about how they're better than your beloved Oilers, I mean, I really could not believe what an about-face you have made publicly about professing your love as a Calgary Flame fan. That's what I took away from the whole thing.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about the game, clearly. By the way, some fan came after me saying I should get out of Matthew Tkachuk's face. Right. They said I should get out of Tkachuk's face. I'm like, there was a window between us, by the way. Okay, there was a window between us. I was nowhere near him. Anyways, yeah.
Hey, I'd be happy to get something signed for you if you like.
Well, we'll talk. We'll talk next week. Listen, Ryan, get to it. Get to it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a game that I don't imagine Daryl Sutter is still very happy with. There were some positives for sure, but there were the takeaways, and I know he made a comment after the game about there is no postseason if you play like that. That was a little too loosey-goosey for him. I think we as fans, and I think a lot of people from the outside looked at that game early on anyhow. That first 20 minutes had a little bit of everything. It was physical. It was end-to-end. There were chances. There were goals. But the second period, I think things kind of tightened up a little bit. It wasn't as entertaining. And then it just kind of opened up again. And, I just think that's nowhere close to the style of game Daryl wants his team to play. But there was certainly entertaining moments to it. And, if you're just watching the Florida Panthers for the first time, you see how fast they are. You see how good they can be. They've got a goaltender who's playing really well at home. I think he's 12-1, 12-1-0, I think, at home now, Bobrovsky. And so you see, and you mentioned Barkov, I heard earlier on your show. Boy, he is a man-child. Guys are bouncing off him. He's just dangerous and underrated. So there's a lot to like about Florida, and I think it was neat coming into that game where it was sort of like, hey, is this a good measuring stick for Calgary, their game? And I think there was some talk about whether or not maybe it's a good measuring stick for Florida as well. So powerhouse, a really strong Western team coming into a really strong Eastern team's house, and we kind of saw what happened. And full marks to Florida. And I would imagine Daryl will have things a little different for the game against the Stanley Cup champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Ryan, we expect, I think, scrums after the whistle and face washes in the BOA, Oilers Flames. But last night, as you saw, after every whistle in the first period, there were scrums. And they weren't love taps. When you got cross-conference play like that, I was a little surprised. Why do you think there was as much angst in the early going between these two teams?
I didn't read too much into it. I think, I don't think you're hyping it up either. I just think that's a good part of it. And there was some juice for sure. There was an attempt to run Johnny Gaudreau that didn't go over well by Radko Gudas. And then that drew a response, and that kind of set the tone early on. You also have Blake Coleman, who knows that team pretty well from his time in Tampa. And he was, I think, Calgary's best player. He was very dialed in. He was getting his nose dirty, and that was great to see. I loved it. I just thought that was that component. I want to see more of that. And I don't know. I think maybe it's just about knowing how good Florida is. There's some familiarity over there. Obviously, Ryan Lomberg, the former Flame, there's some good relationships between he and members of the Flames. I think everybody just wanted to put their best foot forward. And again, full marks to Florida, who just kind of prevailed and pulled away. And all kinds of shots, some bad blood, and and I kind of like those games, Rod, myself, in terms of if you're going to lose, those are the losses where the next day the coach certainly has the ear of the team. It wasn't one like, we got away with one, we don't really need to change it. They're going to have to go to work today, and they're going to have to change a lot, and everybody's going to have to be a lot sharper. So sometimes a good ass kicking is what you need.
Ryan Lomberg, the Lamborghini, as they call him down here in South Florida. Did you guys call him that in his 12 games in Calgary at all?
No. But, he was in the system, and full marks to Calgary for finding him. And, that just was a tough one to say goodbye to. This is a character guy who gives you everything he's got. Spoke with him for about half an hour on the phone yesterday. I just love the kid, and he just gives you such an honest effort every night, and he's a great, infectious guy, and he was talking just about their room and how guys like Patrick Hornquist, who had a heck of a game last night, really has helped change that culture there, and they've got great pieces. They love playing for Andrew Brunette, former Owen Sound player. No big deal. And everything's going, the right way for Florida. I'm just so happy for Ryan to, he's got a baby on the way. And life is great for him, and I'm really happy for him. Didn't get a chance to see Sam Bennett, who I know is also enjoying his time down there. Hopefully we'll see him when Florida comes up to Calgary. But it's just going right for that group, and there's a lot of good players and a couple of really good guys on that roster.
Pretty easy team to like, for sure. Pretty interesting and revealing comment by Daryl Sutter after the game. The Jolly Rancher saying, in typical Daryl's style, that team's at another level. Do you think the Flames can get at that level this year, Ryan?
Oh, yeah, I do. And I think they've been there. They've been on the road, Roddy, a lot, as you know, and they've got 2 massive trips out east. They went out to the West Coast. They just kind of came back from 18, 19 days of the COVID pause, and you go into Seattle and you go into Chicago, and you ease back into it in terms of the strength of schedule and getting your game, knocking some rust off. But we've seen Calgary at that level. They've gone in and beaten some powerhouse teams in this conference. So, yeah, I'm not worried about that. I mean, Jacob Markstrom's done the job, and I think Johnny Gaudreau's playing out of his mind right now, and Elias Lindholm's been sensational. You'd like to get the secondary scoring going a little bit more, and you saw some of that last night with Blake Coleman scoring his first and 8. But Milan Lucic has been getting it done as well. So secondary scoring, if it can kind of continue, I think they're a team that can play at that level, has played at that level, and probably is going to get back to that level at some point. Whether or not they are considered the best team in the West all season remains to be seen, but there's certainly a team that has shown flashes and glimpses of being that caliber of team.
Wow, very impressive. Let's not forget they did put 49 shots on Bob last night. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Calgary in person in their barn. Do you have a take on the arena deal being officially scrapped, by the way?
It's just so disheartening. I try not to wade into sides because everybody's got an opinion without really knowing about some of the conversations that go on. I just feel bad for Flames fans because they're kind of sitting there going, what else can be thrown their way? If it isn't a shutdown, if it isn't their team on a pause, if it isn't the arenas being quiet, if it isn't now the arena news. If there's a fan base that deserves a little bit of good luck, it's the Flames fan base. And that's just the honest truth. I mean, I know everybody's going through everything, but just as we stay in context as far as hockey and just kind of getting dealt a tough hand, Flames fans could use a little break, and it's freezing out there. And, it's just one of these things where they could use a bit of good luck right now. So hopefully this thing gets back on track. I'm optimistic it will, but as far as the inner workings of it, I just feel bad for everybody.
Well, they've got a great hockey team. They've got the RP show coming to Calgary beginning Monday. And most of all, they've got you. You're my favorite. Ryan, thank you. Stay safe out there.
They've got you as their number one fan, and we're going to work on getting you maybe some Matthew Tkachuk pajamas, or maybe a face paint with a big flaming C on your face when you come to town. I don't know what it is, but it's a better color scheme than what you got on right now.
I'll wear it. Thanks, Ryan.
Great to see you, pal. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Sportsnet Flames, Ryan Leslie. He is outstanding. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.